Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk, thinking right out here in the lab, doing what I do for you. I ain't in just one book, I'm in two books out here. Went down this, answered the question and went down the rabbit hole and ran into my Now Violent Civilization book, and it has some information. We're going to do a Q&A. I got to get this information to you. This is like a black history lesson, but it's information I think my people should know, and you can't get it nowhere else other than here. So let's go. Rightisms, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in to receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You will when I get through. Yeah, that's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you know how to answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm your spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you, right thinkers? Know thyself. And to my yacht be true. I'm in the question and answer section of my Now Violent Civilization. A whole lot of stuff in there that I went through, but I never got around to this. I want to get this out. This is called Q&A, actually our real black history lesson. I have been lecturing in this is from Anthony Browder from the Broader File, excuse me. That's my dude. This is his little concept. I have been lecturing on various topics pertaining to African and African American history for more than 12 years. This was about 30 years ago, so he's been around a while. And during that time, I have received what he says numerous inquiries from people desiring information on a variety of subjects, including religion, philosophy, and spirituality, and the particularities of African history. Truth. This publication is included by sharing with you some of those most frequently asked questions and my responses to them respectfully. Watch this. The first one is, and this sound like argumentative people I ran into over the years, so this is one of them answering good questions. One of them is, if the Now Violent Civilization was so great, why did it fall? Okay, good question. And if African people were responsible for creating civilization in ancient Egypt, why are they suffering so now? Respectfully. And this is what I like about somebody with intellect dealing with somebody who's ignorant. You got to try to enlighten them, educate them, inspire them, not just rip them a new one. No, that ain't how it's done. All right, so you got to be politically correct and, show your smarts. Here we go. And one of the first lessons in history teaches us is that history is cyclical. It goes around, okay? Historical events follow specific patterns in life and cycles, in which, when studied, will yield data that allow a person to understand the sequence of events which lead up to a specific activity. Okay? It don't just happen all at once. And the consequences that follow. In this sense, all history is a current event. Why? Because the activities which are transpiring today were set into motion by the events that will initiate at some point in the past. Were initiated by some point in the past to set the point for now. If we understand the basic reality, then we will realize that nothing that comes stays, And nothing that goes is really lost. What you mean? There you go. Great civilizations have risen and fallen since the beginning of time. We know that. Contrary to what many theorists may wish or believe, civilizations do not begin at a primitive level and rise steadily. Don't work that way. Instead, producing cultures which were more sophisticated, than the ones that preceded them. We think we're more smart than them. No, we're not. I can attest to that one. Moving on, I ain't going there. But on the contrary, once a great civilization fell, it took hundreds, if not thousands of years before one of equal or greater significance evolved. Meaning, such in the case with Kemet, not Egypt. Kemet means we live in civilization harmonious, which lasted for more than 3,000 years before we was interrupted by them damn Greeks and the Hyksos and everybody else. But we had harmony amongst ourselves. The whole continent of Africa had harmony. You can get to that too. Well, I'm waiting. That's another lesson. Again, history. You need to know some things. But I keep telling you, they practiced Mayat 3,000 years before anybody ever came and got involved. And everybody came there said the same thing. They're the most spiritual people they ever seen in their life. We wasn't violent. We was a peaceful people, spiritual people. Again, knowledgeable people. Many great civilizations of the ancient world, watch this, have fallen, but none have endured the length as long as the Kemitians. 3,000 years. And right now, the United States is on its 216th, this was 40 years ago, we about to have the 250th birthday, okay, 34 years ago. So again, just 250 years in existence. And it is currently recognized what it used to be, now that Captain Chaos is tearing it up, the mightiest nation on earth. According to them, naturally, ego tripping. But her power, I did the lesson. I'm watching it crumble. I'm watching it fall from grace right now as I speak. Why? I'm seeing it happen in real time. That's why, simple fact. And watch this, her power, which was economy and technology and influence, have waned, significantly. Why? Other people starting to catch up to their BS. And currently, during the past 30 years, they've been nosedive. And the Roman and the Byzantine empires have fallen. The worldwide influence of the Spanish and the British and French have diminished considerably. All those are superpowers. Many historians and political scientists suggest that a similar fate now confronts United States, white America. I've been telling you that for the longest too. And this has already been done 40 years ago. This ain't new. This is all information. I don't give you nothing new. Why? New don't mean crap to me. I give you what's true, what's real. And the demise of this great civilization is not unique to Kemet or Africa. It is a fact of life. But how one deals with these facts is another matter entirely. It determines your perception of reality and it influences your ability to act. With regard to the current status of African people, we must never forget the Maafa, M-A-A-F-A, or what they call the Great Disaster, which had befallen the African continent and the African people. Everybody talk about the drought worldwide, okay? Now, depending on where they were, everybody thought God was mad at them. Everybody had the concept, okay? So that was the concept. But it happened. So everybody got a flood story. Everybody got a story about drought. So nature. And with the exception of the Native Americans, watch this, the Maafa, or the Great Disaster, which had befallen the African continent and the African people worldwide. Now, with the exception of the Native Americans and the Native Australians, no other people on earth, listen, have had their continent snatched away by foreigners. The Berlin Conference, 1854, 1884, they sat down, Spanish, British, French, Europeans, all of them, and divided up Africa. And Africa wasn't even in the damn conference. How could that be? Just in case you didn't know your little black history, okay? That's a fact. Now, Africans were the only people to have been enslaved and exported to other continents by the millions. So that little Holocaust nonsense comes to you, oh, we lost 6 million. We lost tens of millions. Don't even count that, okay? Hell, Leopold killed 20 million. Y'all ain't talking about him. Y'all talking about Hitler killing 6. That ain't nothing. Moving on. Again, selective teaching by the millions. These actions have depleted the human and natural resources of what? Africa. But guess what? They waking up, they rising on their ass now. And while simultaneously developing them where? In Europe and America. How they gonna run Africa? They was for a while. Now that they all getting kicked out. Okay? Africa going black. I love it. And we are still, to this day, experiencing what? Those repercussions of that event that's been plaguing us for a long time. Although the total number of Africans stolen from their homeland varies greatly from what? From source to source, depending on who telling the story. Okay? So, we can conservatively, how about that? Not conservatively estimate what? That at a minimum of 50 million people were displaced. That's just taking and moving, okay? That's just the ones that made it to wherever they're supposed to go. That's 50 million. So 6 million, y'all get reparations, y'all get everything, y'all get taken care of, and we lost 50, y'all didn't set a blue. Moving on. But when you consider now the fact that 1/3 of the enslaved Africans never survived the transatlantic journey, why? They died during the process, okay? And some died during the breaking process, who they just ain't going to be enslaved. So they lost another 30 million. That's 80 million people were all therefore talked about, and the deaths of more than 80 million people. Black people, so nobody give a crap. Okay, moving on. But these figures do not take into account the millions of other Africans who died before they were loaded aboard, who fought before they got on the slave ships, okay? Or the number of men and women and children who were raped, beaten to death, or lynched once they arrived in the New World. What the hell? This what just pissed me off about white people. I'm gonna have to go through. I can't do all this. Okay, but one must be understanding this. I'm gonna get this and move on. Because this right here, let me show you this. This is them at the Berlin conference. Okay, and a black person in the house, but they discussing Africa. And this is what they did to us. These was bills to sell us. Okay, catch us. Okay, and that wasn't but less than 200 years ago. This was in 1851. Okay, you understand it? That would just piss me off. So that's what I call fluff, and I don't want to get upset. I want to get this lesson out and get to the part I really want to get to, which is for my Christians. So I had to get to that. Another question: is it true that Africans were responsible for their own enslavement when they sold other Africans to the Europeans and the Arabs? Is this true? Then why would blacks in America want to associate with their so-called African brothers? Again, we have a misinterpretation, misunderstanding, and there is no race or people who have not had their Benedict honors, in-house traders, traders to help the other people. And at some point in time, the Africans are no exception. Slavery is as old as mankind, and many instances, most slaves were either prisoners of war, again, booty, criminals of the law, or people who were just unable to pay their bums, okay? They just put them in a position to do something to get something out of them. But the word slave was coined in Europe and described who? The Eastern Europeans who were enslaved by who? Their Western European cousins. So they did, and they claim we did it. No, we understood what they doing. Again, with many African nations also enslaved, they're prisoners of war. Again, but they still respected the humanity, okay, of the enslaved individual. And watch this. And they were often allowed to marry, and their spouses and offspring remained free. That's not inhumane. shackling and beating and whipping, that's inhumane. And that's what y'all did. So various religious conflicts had also played a major role in the history of slavery. The Hebrews were subjected by who? Subjugated by the Egyptians, and the Romans persecuted the Christians. And both Christians and Muslims enslaved their prisoners of war. Everybody did it. Hundreds of years doing it. Yeah, we got that. But the enslavement of African people were profoundly different. Why? Because they were enslaved by Christians, Muslims, and Jews for what? Religious and financial reasons. The Jew was the hidden hand behind all the slave movement. They didn't, per se, but they funded it. They profited off it. That's why. Oh, we ain't supposed to know. Excuse me. That's, again, moving on. I'm telling you what I know about what I know. Simple as that. And I studied to learn for myself. It ain't what I heard. I'm trying to get the information to you as best I can. Again, more fluff about that. I want to get over to the good stuff. The role of the media today is to what? Distract and show distrust between what? African and African Americans. And also partially to blame why the violence between political factions of South Africa is always referred to as what? Black on black violence. They instigated, and then, you know what I'm saying? Yet, the murder of whites in Eastern Europe is continually referred to as what? An ethnic conflict. Oh, white on white crime. What's this? The battles which have taken place between European nations have never been referenced as what? White on white violence. Instead, what? They have been called world wars. 1 and 2. Forget the Civil War, okay? But again, they fight each other over differences. Again, the last question. Okay, I can get this in. The question I want to get to, as a Christian, how am I to respond to the information, the proof regarding the Nile Valley origins of Christianity? I have been told all my life that the Bible is the Word of God and that Jesus died for our sins. Keep going. Now I am hearing that the Bible was derived from Egyptian texts and that the story of Jesus and Mary is patterned after Isis and Horus, which is the Greek names that real name is Aset and Haru, which I teach you. There are even those who claim, that the 10 Commandments have really come from something they call the 42 Negative Confessions of Maya. What and who am I to believe? First of all, that's why I wanted to get to that question. If you want to believe the Bible. Believe what the Bible says. You want the truth? Listen to me. I got you. This topic has always been sensitive one for what? For people who want to believe, who have been raised in that what? Christian environment. They've been indoctrinated. They've been, okay. And again, understand that. Many have been taught to what? Believe. Our ancients practiced a gnosis, to know system. Know thyself, not believe thyself. First of all, so let's get that concept out the way. When you're dealing in belief, you lose me. Let me show you. They have been taught to just believe that it is sinful to question the Bible. And they accept the entire book at face value. More problems. What must be remembered is what? That there are currently more than 141 versions of that holy book that you claim is by God, and interpretations of specific texts varies greatly. It ain't but one way you can teach, profess, and practice Maya. Ain't but one way you can teach, and profess Egyptian philosophical concepts. Shita Netta, Smata way, ain't but one way, and everybody can put it different, but it's still one way. Ain't no 140, moving on, I'm just trying to make that point. Now, if you're going to study the Bible, most of y'all don't, y'all just let the preacher tell you, and y'all believe, yeah, that's what the preacher said, that's what the Bible said, that's what's in the Bible. Those who study the Bible, or any book for that matter, must know this. You must investigate what? The background and the motives of the who? Author. Half of y'all don't know who wrote the book. Half of y'all claim this one, that, and still don't know. But instead of saying, I don't know, if you don't know, find out. So that way, when you ask the damn question, at least you know, even if it's wrong. And it is. Why? Yeah, I don't. Simple. And when we tell you, oh, I don't believe that. Oh, what the hell? You believe a lie, so when the truth come by, the truth's gonna stand a chance. That's what religion did for all my black people. Put y'all in the mode where y'all don't want the truth. No, y'all rather believe the lie. Moving on. I'm talking my change Jesus. I'm ready. Okay. I ain't beefing none of that nonsense. I got the truth. So I'm not worrying about you loving and believing the lie. Don't concern me at all. Millions of people read the King James Version of the Bible, and okay, that's cool. But few, if any, know anything at all about King James. Had sex with his mother, gay, did a whole bunch of perverted stuff. Wrote another book, a demon book. Okay, so this is the guy that y'all ain't nothing. Moving on, I ain't got time for that. But nobody know who King James was or who was he. What motivated him to undertake such an important task of rewriting the book? One religious scholars have stated that King James was a man who would make, you ready? Adolf Hitler look like Santa Claus. Not a good dude. Okay? He made numbnuts look good. How about that? Okay? So what that tell you? What that tell you? If this is a fact, then what will happen to the people who have accepted King James Version of the Bible as truth all their life? Don't know nothing else. Yeah, so what's up, moment? Take that in. Because you believe it means a little or nothing. But the fact that you have strong belief, you're going to make that belief a reality because you're going to do it. That's called a miracle. That's too much work to just make a point for doing it. The truth, you're going to work that hard. I'm just saying. And these questions must be asked. Why? Because a person's concept of religion is too important to leave in the hands of just anybody. That's what they say. But it is a historical fact. Scooby-Doo? Uh-oh. What? That the same people who have been responsible, you ready? For interpreting and translating the Bible have also been involved in enslavement and murder of millions of African and Native American people. Most of the images associated with biblical personalities have been portrayed as European. I got a book right there, and I know for a fact the people in that book is all black. The Ethiopian, the original Bible, still in Ethiopia to this day, is still all black, and a white person in there. Only thing white in that book, when Moses stuck his hand in his sleeve and came out white as snow like a leper. Only the white people now was lepers. And when he put it back, it went back to normal. If it would turn white, that means it was black before it turned white. Again, tell you what it is. But they portrayed Jesus. Ain't nowhere in the hell stringy haired white man can walk around and stop, please. Europeans, and what's this? And they tell you what happened. They tell you whoever might painted it like that. So why would y'all think that's so holy? Why would y'all think that they people with honest and forthright and trust? Really, moving on. And when they were known to have what? Been people of color. And y'all changed the color of God. I just told you, people who change your gods cannot be trusted ever. That's ancient. I don't trust them to this day for that reason. There is a very strong movement within the Black Catholic Baptist, and Methodist churches to reclaim the African origins of Christianity. Why waste your damn time? Sorry, my bad. Knock yourself out. This is the current thing to do. The correct thing to do. But they're not. They got it wrong. They won't admit that. You got go to every Catholic church I done went to, and a nigga in the house. And my man said it best, Dr. John Henry Clark. You would think that with all that righteousness and all that goodness, at least there's one little brown kid up in there. An angel, all of them white, lily white. Everybody look butt naked white. That's okay. That ain't child pornography. Moving on, get back. We all took pictures of babies naked. One picture you might never. If they show that picture, somebody gonna get in trouble. I got one, but ain't nobody supposed to see it. Why? Moving on. It's okay. No, stop. But we did it. Okay. But in every, where we at? Okay. Every biblical scholar agrees with the fact that Jesus, the Christ, as y'all call him, was a person of color. Okay. So why we got these damn portraits of the white man? But y'all know that's a lie. Moving on, let me wrap this up. But mostly ministers will refuse to acknowledge this reality for what? For fear of the reaction from the congregation. So they can't tell the truth. Biblical scholars, again, cannot agree on what? The birthday of Jesus. Why? They don't know. If somebody was born, you don't know the day he was born, was he born? I keep telling you, I don't give a damn what color he was. I say he never existed. That's not the story. Now I'm about to get in trouble. I just pissed a bunch of people off. But I'm not arguing the color. Why? I'm just saying his existence, my argument. The Christ. But they know what? He was not born on December 25th. Yeah, I was born in 24. Maybe it's me. But that date, we already know, was agreed upon by who? The bishops who attended the Nicene Conference in 3032 ACE. And because it commemorated the birth of the Son and the Son of God thousands of years way before the birth of Jesus the Christ. And very few people are really aware of the fact that this conference took place and that it determined what doctrines would be incorporated in your Bible that you're reading today in the Christian religion. And this is not suggesting that Christianity is a false religion. Hell yes it is. Yes it is. That's a direct indicator. Sorry, whoa. They're telling you it's a belief system. It's a BS system. Moving on. Let me wrap it up before I get shut out. This is not, oh yes it is. Okay, not to say that one must be aware of the influence that African religious thought played in its development. Why? There is a great deal of symbolisms and the allegories in the Bible and the text of our ancients. One must learn to distinguish truth from lies, between the information, discernment, which should be taken, some of it literal, and that which must be evaluated for a greater understanding. The only valuable solution to this quandary is what? Is to read and study all related information. It is impossible for a person, here we go, you ready? To read this one book and consider themselves all knowledgeable on the subject matter. One of the reasons African people continue to suffer, there you go, because of ignorance. Today, right today, is because they still worship a God that was what? Assigned to them by their former slave master. So it's falling on deaf ears, just as the African involvement in the historical development of the world's civilizations have been ignored. The African spiritual concepts, which have been incorporated into the world's major religious systems, have also been forgotten. Human beings have used many names to call God. I'll tell you that from the beginning. He'd be known by a myriad of names. Here they go. God, names such as Amun, Jehovah, Allah, Buddha, Shango, and there's a numerous counts of many others. And many others that have been used by people to describe the special relationship with God. You have the right to do whatever you choose. But it is wrong Again, hear me. It is wrong to deny any people the right to believe in whatever concept or God or creator, and it is sinful to enslave them in the name of God. Those are all things that we supposed to stand for as human beings. Any people who would engage in such activities are unworthy of what? Reaching heaven reward which they claim to seek. All y'all self-righteous BS system leaders ain't going to heaven. I can guarantee you that. That's my lesson. I'm going to stop. I get all heated up. I hope you got the concept. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I got more of that knowledge. That's real history of our people against our oppressor. Can't trust them. Don't trust them. I won't. Hope you know it. In closing, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100. Me 100 minus a day. So I know none of my right thinkers who starting to get real understanding in the history of themselves has passed away.